Lovely to see so many people here. My name's Darren James. I work for Specops Software, and I've worked with them for 14 years. But prior to that, I've been in the IT industry all the way from service desk all the way up to where I am now, cybersecurity guy at Outpost. So I've kind of lived and breathed everything. I'm the senior product manager, but as I say, don't let that put you off. It's not all about sales. I've done the role. I've walked the walk across the entire sort of spectrum of the IT industry. And I'm very much going to continue with what Bennett and Matthew were just saying a few moments ago around identity and AI, and not just the good things that Matthew was talking about, but also the bad things. So, yeah, I think we all remember what happened back in April this year with a bunch of, well, initially UK retailers, but since then we've seen copycat attacks all over the globe. And I know some of you here in the audience today might have been affected by that. So Scattered Spider, they're the supposed group that's been claiming a responsibility for all of these attacks. Who are they? Well, they're not a nation-state-sponsored attacker. They're just a group of young English/US, UK-speaking individuals whose sole aim is to extort money from all of you guys, everybody. All of the well-known brands that we use on a day-to-day basis. But they come to it from a slightly different angle to what us as security or IT security experts are normally used to. We're normally used to protecting our servers and infrastructure, but they're very much targeted on aiming at the individual, at the human being, and exploiting our very weaknesses. So, and they use social engineering, particularly to target those individuals, target those individual companies, and then they also use social media to brag about those. And the individuals that these guys have particularly been targeting are the service desks, so where I used to work. And why is that? Why are they a target? Well, it's hard to crack people's passwords and steal MFA tokens these days. That's a difficult, highly technical challenge for those attackers. It's much easier to prey on the good nature of your service desk agents. Yeah, those service desk agents are trained to help, not suspect every caller. And also, those very same service desk agents aren't the sort of people that have the time every day to solve those identity problems for the users that call. Also, these guys may have never met any of these end users. They could be, I think we've got some MSPs who may run service desks for companies. They will never have any contact. Since COVID, most of us hybrid work, some of us never even come into the office anymore. So you're not going to be able to recognize somebody's voice. And you know, this is a big problem. And also service desks have varying levels of access. Some service desks have full domain admin, entry admin, global admin rights. Some companies are a little bit more good with their privileged access or their role-based access. But oftentimes, we can see that service desks have even got rights to reset other admins' credentials. So yeah, these are pretty serious things that they have to deal with. So how does Scattered Spider and what the Lapsus and all of these other groups that are very closely knit together, how do they work? What's their sort of method of attack? Well, initially they use reconnaissance. So they'll look at your Facebook profile, your Instagram profile, your LinkedIn profile. They'll work out who your colleagues are, what your interests are. If any of you guys look me up on LinkedIn, you might notice I'm a big Star Wars fan. But, you know, may the force be with you isn't my password. I'll just say I don't put that out there right now. The next thing is that once they've got that information about you, they may make contact in certain ways. what I'm going to be talking about mostly today is phishing. So that's voice phishing. Email phishing, yeah, very serious. Smishing, using SMS. There are lots and lots of different ways you can use social engineering to get people to do things for you. But in this particular instance, we're talking about phishing and voice. And I worked for Outpost 24 as well. They were a parent company. And Outpost 24 have an offensive security team. So they'll go and do red teaming and test your defenses. And I recently ran a webinar with one of those OffSec guys. And he looked up my voice on YouTube, sampled it, and then played back a call to me with my voice, asking for a password reset or an MFA reset. This wasn't a sophisticated attack. He used free software that anyone can download. If he wanted to pay a little bit more subscription, he could do it live. And then he also put a bit of stress on the end of that attack as well. So he had one of my daughters crying in the background and me begging for a password reset. You know, I desperately needed to do this. And it was me. It was my voice, my mannerisms, the way I talk, the pauses that I have right now. So exactly, all of that sort of thing. And of course, once that attacker is in your network, they then plan to deploy ransomware. And so that's stealing user data, stealing company data, compromising other credentials, creating backdoors, all of the nasty stuff that we've seen. And these are real-world incidents. I mean, Marks and Spencer's, I guess, is the most famous of the attacks that we had earlier this year. Under their own admission, it's going to cost them at least £300 million as a result of that attack. They stole the entire Active Directory database and then cracked everybody's password and encrypted everything. Co-op and Harrods were also tied up in a very similar attack. Co-op pulled all the plugs out of their servers and limited the impact. Harrods managed to nip it in the bud, but still scary stuff, still a huge impact on business. And remember, this isn't a new form of attack. MGM Casinos back in 2023 had exactly the same thing happen to them. Admin had their password reset by somebody on the service desk. Bad guys log in as admin, set up a fake Okta tenant, capture everybody's password, game over. $100 million later, they're back in business, but it's $100 million. So what can we do to protect ourselves as cybersecurity experts? Well, you really need to enforce strict identity verification whenever someone calls the service desk. So not as, well, it's a nice to have and we should do this, but we need to be able to enforce it. But you need to be able to enforce it across any type of scenario. So you need to look for flexible means. So not just, oh, has the user got a phone? No, I haven't got my phone, I've lost it. Are you sat with your boss? I haven't got access to email. There are numerous ways of trying to get out of that identity process. So you need to look for solutions that can offer the ability to cover as many scenarios as you possibly can. Self-service. So if your users aren't allowed to call the service desk for a password reset, because they can use a self-service system, use one of those instead. But the thing with self-service password reset or self-service MFA reset solutions is that often they don't cover all those scenarios. So make sure that whatever you choose enables you to offer that service in any type of scenario. And particularly when your users are working away from the office, make sure it works. Often, self-service solutions don't offer those types of scenarios. And yes, we can do all of the other sort of things, training that a lot of the companies here offer, absolutely. Look for those telltale signs, monitor suspicious activity, make sure your backups are all good. These are all important things. But you need to make sure at the very crux of it is enforce that strict verification. So how can we help at Specops? Well, we offer a self-service password reset solution called Specops U-Reset. And Specops U-Reset has a couple of things that really differentiate it from anything else on the market. And one of those key things is the ability to update a cached credential. So all of those remote workers that can't use a self-service system because they're sat at home with a laptop on their knee, they've forgotten their password after an amazing weekend, well, they can still use it without any VPN access to back to their head office. They also have that flexible authentication available to them. But we don't class all ID services as equal. So sending an SMS, it's quite easy for someone to clone a SIM these days. So we can give people a star bar. So an SMS only gives you 1 star, but a biometric will give you 3. And so yeah, we can give our users the ability to choose secure and convenient methods of authentication. And finally, dynamic feedback. How many of you guys have ever worked in a service desk and you've had a call from someone saying, yeah, I tried to use the self-service system, but it still won't, it's telling me my password doesn't meet the policy? Lots of it, thank you very much. So your self-service system has failed at that point. Why not have something that can deliver that feedback for the user? So that's it. We've eliminated most of our calls to the service desk, particularly when it comes to passwords and MFA resets. But what if they still call? Well, again, this is where secure service desk comes into play. We can still use those same MFA solutions that we've had before for our self-service, but now we can use them to identify any caller to the service desk. Again, across multiple types of scenario, using regular ID services, ping identity. There's a shout out for Matthew, who was just on a few minutes ago. We support that. Duo, Okta, Specops ID, our own ID service, YubiKeys, Microsoft Authenticator, Google Authenticator, as well as basic ones as well, like Manager ID, getting your boss to verify you, and so on. And of course, it also allows you to not give access to the service desk to big tools like Active Directory users and computers, where they have lots and lots of rights to do many, many other things. It purely locks it down to the roles and responsibilities you want to grant your users or your service desk. And there's also a really cool API built into it, which means you can hook it into your ITSM systems as well. So key takeaways, really, service desks are certainly high-value targets. We want to make sure that they are protected against these types of attack. A one-time phone call can bypass all of your MFA and passwordless solutions. So yeah, it's important. What you really need to do is look for that strong verification and also try and offer self-service that works, not just self-service because it ticks a box on an audit screen. Thanks, everybody. My name's Darren James. You're more than welcome to email me. I'll be out in the bar. We don't have a stand, sadly. I'll be out in the bar area after this. If anybody wants to come and discuss their own scenarios, you're more than welcome to do so. The QR code there, please feel free to take a shot at that, and we can book a private meeting if you like as well. And it will actually be me on that Teams call, not just an AI version of me. Thanks a lot.